It's too goddamn hot. The particular part of the UK that I shuffle around in is currently in the midst of a heatwave. And as a British person, I'm legally bound to let this change in the weather affect my entire personality, to dictate my mood, behaviour, and decisions. It's at times like this that I like to refer to the quote you heard at the top of this show, one of my favourites from an ancient philosopher. It's too goddamn hot. We need to chill out. Wise words. In these moments, where emotions rise in tandem with the mercury, music is a great way of finding some balance. Video games can help. I like video game music. I think it's good. When it comes to the intersection of games and music, I especially like it when the former prioritises the latter as part of the experience, games that use the audio to lead the experience. Within that world of games, there's a whole subgenre that functions as an extension of the chill beats to study to phenomena, movement, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty simple, pretty basic. I enjoy that style of music. It's arguably overused and codified to the point of blandness, but I think it's withstood years of overexposure and meme culture by being something people actually find worthwhile in the first place. There's always a place for pure vibes, especially right now. I need some recommendations, a place to start. Fortunately, there's a guy out there who can help with this. His name is Andrew. No relation, that's not how names work. And he's got something to say about chill beats and video games. We'll get to him in a minute. I grew up with the radio. Daytime in the car with the windows down. Nighttime, after hours, the indie netherworld. I'd tape midnight sessions and listen on repeat for weeks after. Those years seem to have internalised the desire to do a radio show. It feels natural, in a way that other childhood ambitions, being an astronaut or a shark, don't. I decided to start a sub-series on this show about video game music, and I start looking for any articles, think pieces, or academic research on the chill beats phenomena as it pertains to video games. There's a pretty stunning amount of papers on the importance of music in games, which feels like something that doesn't really need to be overstated, but it's still nice to see. But very little on this particular subgenre of it. And then, just as the sweat is making my keyboard into an electrical hazard, I come across a piece by a trainee teacher and occasional musician called Andrew. Strong name. As far as I can tell, his social media presence is now, sadly, pretty quiet. But for a while, between 2020 and 2022, he was blogging fairly regularly via Andrew's Gaming Notes. On that blog, he wrote a piece called The Gamification of Chill Beats, the Music of Kind Words and Coffee Talk. In the essay, he writes, quote, "Chill beats tend to appear in games that are also aiming to conjure a meditative atmosphere. Lo-fi isn't communicating to players that they are in a rush to succeed, assert dominance of a game world, better their gameplay, or even progress an in-game narrative. It feels like that games featuring chill beats are encouraging players to luxuriate in the details of a game's world, rather than pushing them to a finishing point." End quote. That's a neat way of articulating something that anyone who's played these types of games is aware of, consciously or not. He then brings up a phrase that I've not heard before. Disinterested music. He says, quote, "Looping music crafts a sense of calm and stability, and can convey information about a game's mechanics to players. In Understanding Video Game Music, Tim Summers outlines that the presence of a repetitious, disinterested soundtrack implies that the game universe is underpinned by a stable architecture." End quote. Linking out to an academic essay. Oh, here we go. And so now we're reading Understanding Video Game Music by Tim Summers. It's 248 pages long, so buckle up. Kidding. Or am I? I'm kidding. It's this section from page 105 that we're interested in. It's a bit long, but just go with me here. Whereas music that changes with the player's actions, or upon the progress of the game, could easily be interpreted as a judgmental and vocal musical narrator, a looping playlist appears as a consistent part of the simulation architecture and gives players the impression that they are free to do as they wish within the world, not being prompted or directed to make certain decisions by the game. In emphasising this player freedom, the player's empowerment is implied. Consistent music suggests the consistency of a created world while simultaneously implying the player's free will. Yeah, Tim, like I said, music is good. But seriously, smart people, right? But I like this bit. It's a succinct way of expressing why looping music, why chill beats, make us feel good. This type of music doesn't push the player or direct them. It provides stability, the implication of player agency, a sense of calm. And that's a key part of explaining the effectiveness of a particular type of game. A type of game that I happen to really like. Games that prioritise music in order to create an immersive, experiential thing. Games that function as a source of calm. Chill games. And that's what we're looking at today. We need to chill out. And we're going to do so in the first radio episode of this show. We're going to look at some games by listening to them. Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Dialogue Tree. This is episode 13. _1. Chill games to study to. First up, Freshly Frosted. Freshly Frosted is a puzzle game developed by the Quantum Astrophysicists Guild and released on June 10th, 2022. I like surprising people, so hopefully this next piece of information has a desired effect. It holds an 85 on Metacritic and an 89 on OpenCritic. In the game, your task is to connect two ends of a donut factory. You have your point where the donuts are made and the point where they need to go, and you must connect these two ends. You must do this by laying down parts of a conveyor belt onto a grid, one square at a time. Once you're happy with your layout, you press a button to set the factory to work. If it works, it works. If not, you try again. The complexity ramps up steadily, the game introducing new requirements and new conveyor belt elements at a steady, manageable rate. You quickly need to start decorating donuts in certain ways, the challenge coming from the fact that you have limited space in which to work, your conveyor belt can't cross over itself, etc. Any complexity though, any potential stress, is softened entirely by the general burbling vibe of this game. Its pastel aesthetics, soothing ASMR adjacent narration, and generous player-friendly hint system are its best features. Well, other than the soundtrack. Composed by Josie Breckner, the Freshly Frosted soundtrack is perfectly matched to its visuals. Soft, gentle, reminiscent intentionally of the dreamlike world of the game itself. Melodies and beats drift through high and low pass filters, coming in and out of focus. That dream that you long to remember. You've been listening to the title theme. This next one is A Quiet Spring Day. There's another side, literally, to Freshly Frosted, a side B. This side is made up of alternate versions of the ambient side A, and pulses to the imagined rhythms of the production houses that you are creating. These pieces retain the abstract melodies, but with drive, a heartbeat. This is a version of the consistent music Tim Summers talks about. The world may be a 12-pack box of donuts, but it's mine to play in. This is Twilight Romance, Side B. Josie Breckner is a remarkable talent. She has contributed music to a pretty stunning amount of games, including Rift of the Necrodancer, The Last Days of Friendship Valley and Blossom Tales 2. She makes her own music as well, does speaking and advocacy work, and makes her own instruments, freely available on her website. Links, as ever, in the show notes. That was Freshly Frosted. Let's put all that sugar to good use and get active. Next up, Lo-Fi Ping Pong. Lo-Fi Ping Pong is a rhythm game, a genre I find hard, based on a sport that I find impossible. This game is accessible, fun, and addictive. Why? Oh, you know why. Lo-Fi Ping Pong is a conceptually simple rhythm game, developed by Calvarez and originally released on Steam on March 12, 2019. It's a top-down game in an authentic-looking, well-realised 16-bit pixel art style, with a darker colour palette to what you commonly see, matching the more unknowable vibe of the game. There is a story here, implied subtly, much like Freshly Frosted, but with a more sinister undertone. This is less of a dream, more like a troubled thought that just won't go away. In any case, in Lo-Fi Ping Pong, you play ping pong. It's a 3-button game, with those buttons corresponding to a side on the ping pong table. The song starts, your opponent will start the rally. When the ball comes to you, you react and press the button corresponding to where it's landed on the table. You play to the rhythm. The hook is immediate. The gameplay, the rhythm, the music, that consistent looping music, instantly, worryingly hypnotic. You're in trouble. And you know it. You've been listening to Too Late by Zemaev. A harder groove than before, its cap pulled down over its face. This next one is different. It's called Forever, and it's credited to Hamiko.
What do you have to say to me?
I'll love you forever, Sid.
You will?
Yes. That's the problem.
Different, but complementary styles. But, like Freshly Frosted, there's another side to this soundtrack. Actually, multiple sides, in line with the fact that there are multiple credited composers. One of these other sides leans less into the hip-hop elements of chill beats, and more into the strangely nocturnal vibes of the game. It's an after-hours drive through the city, the neon and the night. This is Peace by Satoru. From the nighttime cityscape, home, to a dream. Next up, the most well-known game on this episode. This is Melatonin. Originally released on December 15th, 2022, Melatonin is another rhythm game that represents the answer to a particular question that I almost hate myself for writing. What if Rhythm Heaven, but millennial? What I mean by that is, the rhythm games here do not work on rails, and are not complex Guitar Hero-esque exercises in memory and technical mastery. Rather, like Rhythm Heaven, they work more on feel. You react to the pulse, the beat of the music, the visual clues given by each environment. That's the Rhythm Heaven part. But what of the millennial? Well, that's handled by the concerns of the game, represented by the level names and the visual theming of them. Modern preoccupations, work, relationships, followers, shopping. Each of those levels taking place in a graphical representation of that particular worry or concern. And also, the visuals. The visuals. That's the thing. The look of Melatonin is how it grabbed a good deal of attention in the indie gaming world in 2022. At least in video game terms, I can't think of an example that better represents this flavour of Naughty's graphical art style. A particular aesthetic blown out to an extreme. This is a Dreamwave comic book, drawn of the most vibrant pinks, the most vibrant blues, the widest range of pastoral purples. You know this style, to the extent that it feels predictable. It will date. We may look back at this in 10 years and roll our eyes, but it is gorgeous. I like to think of this as a generous art style. It's easy on the eye in a way that is surely intentional. It feels like a gift to you, in that you can stare at any frame of this game and feel rejuvenated, refreshed. The knowledge that the developer of this game, David Hoyne, previously worked in graphic interface and user experience design, is therefore not a surprise. You can read David's understood, known style as the visual equivalent of the consistent music we're listening to here. Stable and steady, designed to soothe and not to stress. The music does the same. You've been listening to one style of composition from Melatonin, Dream Ocean by Gravity Sound. Now, let's listen to this, Past by Cade Makes Music. To mine a cliche, you can almost hear the rain on the windowsill in that one. Like the games that precede it, there are upbeat diversions. The tempo increases, but it doesn't feel like it's designed to hurry you. The music remains meditative. You could write the names of the songs from the Melatonin soundtrack on a wall and throw darts at it. Please, don't do that. And come out with a good playlist. So we're going to listen to a few highlights now. You're going to hear followers, meditation, and dating. That was Followers, Meditation and Dating from Melatonin, credited to Cade Makes Music and Half Asleep Games. In Followers and Meditation, I like how strong the melodies are, but how relatively de-emphasised they are, low in the mix, a subtlety common to this genre of music. With Dating, it's the opposite. A simple, chiming, toy-like keyboard, elevated by that bounce and swing. It takes you off the backseat of the bus, away from the window, and onto the street. A low-key swagger on a spring day. Melatonin is an inherently introverted game. You examine yourself through the power of a restorative sleep. Wake up. That was our me time. Now, let's look outwards. Let's bring things full circle. Let's return to Andrew and his blog and one of the games he wrote about. This is Kind Words. That was Ponderer by Clark Abood, who composed the soundtrack for Kind Words. This is a 2019 game developed by Pop Cannibal, in which you write letters to other players. You can request letters, send and receive stickers, and decorate your room with those stickers. For me, this is one of the best examples of cozy gaming. Low stakes, no fail state. But unlike other games under that umbrella, Kind Words is a game that has you look outside yourself, that asks you to think about what you can do for others. It's a game that emphasises something that I connect with, the power of the written word. That might not be as immediate as a piece of music or a beautiful photo at communicating a thought or a feeling, but the intimacy of the written word, two imaginations linked through pure text, is unique. This is copacetic. As a demonstration of the range and power of the video game, it's wonderful. A philosophical treasure supported by an immersive audio experience. It's impossible for Kind Words to not make you think. It makes you think about the friendships you've let lapse, the friends and family you could have given something to. One last song. Paper Planes. Kind Words, as an idea, is the perfect platform for the idea of disinterested music. Remember, a looping playlist appears as a consistent part of the simulation architecture and gives players the impression that they are free to do as they wish within the world, not being prompted or directed to make certain decisions by the game. That's what Pop Cannibal want. Players are given that single tool, that single goal, and the rest is up to them. The music doesn't guide you, it's just there for you. Kind Words won a video game BAFTA for Game Beyond Entertainment, and that's a nice summation of what it achieves. Clark Abood's work is a key part of the effect of the game, and importantly for us, here, now, in the heat, is a gift, a balm, a cooling mist. That was _1, a radio show by Dialogue Tree. Maybe it's the heat, but I want to look outside again. I'm going to pick up a pen, metaphorically probably, and write to a friend. First, Andrew, this is my letter to you. Thank you. Thanks for listening. You can find the newsletter for this episode in the show notes, which includes links to all the music you've heard today. The artwork for the show was produced by Pixel Benny, and you can find the show online at dialoguetree.cc. Talk to you next time.